Good morning, everybody. I welcome you all to session 2 of day 1 of this program. Now I introduce our eminent speaker for this session, Dr. Bhavana Rudra ma'am. Actually, she is currently working as Assistant Professor, Department of Information Technology, National Institute of Technology, Karnataka, Surathkal. She completed her PhD from Indian Institute of Information Technology, Allahabad, Uttar Pradesh during March 2015. Her research interests include blockchain, quantum cryptography, information security, network security, future internet architecture security, Internet of Things. She has published more than 20 publications, including 10 international journals, 15 international conferences, and book chapters in IET, Elsevier, Springer, IGA Publisher, etc. She is the technical reviewer for various international Sci-indexed journals of repute like IEEE Computer Society, Elsevier, and Springer. Now I request our eminent speaker, Dr. Bhavana Rudra ma'am, to take over the floor. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am. Thanks for the invitation. So today I'll just go with the basic introduction of the blockchain, as the first session was only inaugural. Just a brief review of blockchain. Then I'll go with the case studies, how the blockchain will be can be implemented in any of the application, and what are the various research areas that are hidden inside it. So in that way I'm going to cover. So once again, let's start with the thanks for the invitation, and let's start with the introduction to the blockchain. So coming to the introduction, everybody knows about blockchain, saying that yeah, it is a new technology which has come up, right? So it is a concept. The concept which has been existing has been adopted in a newer fashion. So the concept of distributed network has been taken along with some security concepts, so that it can give you a complete structure of secure fashion of transmission over the network. Okay, so as we know, the decentralized and centralized networks, distributed networks, the difference, right? Centralized, the center server, if that gets failed, everything gets the data which is stored in that particular server will collapse, right? Whereas decentralized, even though we have, but still, even that also leads to the loss of data at every point of saving, right? Somewhere when the repair or damage happens, then automatically the data will get destroyed. Whereas in the distributed systems, so you are going to have two or more nodes, and you are going to have a complete communication, and the complete database will be same. I know the storing of data will consume lots of servers and the electricity, etc., etc. But that has yielded a good result when compared to the centralized and decentralized network. Okay, so that is the brief of like why the blockchain has come into existence. So blockchain, when we say distributed network, a node in the network can be defined as an individual player in the blockchain. Okay, so over here we say that all nodes are capable of sending the information from one to the other, sending and receiving of the information from one node to the other, right? So the node that can exhibit the arbitrary behavior is known as a Byzantine node. That is nothing but anonymous node or anomaly node or attacker node, which is behaving little bit different compared to normal all the existing nodes. Okay, so in order to go with that, so we can simply, in simple words, we can say that blockchain is nothing but it is analogous to SMTP, HTTP or FTP running on the top of TCP/IP protocol, right? So it is a peer-to-peer distributed ledger which is secure, append-only, immutable, updatable using some agreement protocols among the peers. So the moment they want to, anybody in the network wants to start a communication, then definitely they have to agree for some component and then only they can start the communication, right? So in that way, we can say that this is a blockchain network where the moment peer-to-peer network consists of the transactions, blocks, consensus, machine, state machines, and the blockchain applications. This, anyways, we are going to deal in detail in the coming slides. So these are the main roles like state machine, consensus, blocks, transactions. They compute to a complete block of a blockchain. Okay. So how this blockchain has emerged? This has emerged in the with the invention of Bitcoin in 2008. Okay. Before 2008, actually it was implemented. The basic concepts of blockchain was implemented in 1980s itself in terms of e-cash protocols. Okay, so the issues which the author at that particular time has indicated are the accountability and anonymity of the network. So where he has used the cryptographic operations called as blind signature and secret sharing in order to perform the complete set of operation. So the other protocols like eCash schemes, based on eCash schemes, the authors like Chom, Fight and Noor, they have come up and they have introduced the anonymity and double spending detection. Double spending is nothing but you are doing the transaction twice. So Google Pay, whoever will use the Google Pay, they might have experienced Google Pay, Paytm, so on and so forth. So sometimes it is very rare that double spending problem will arise. You might have spent twice for the same person, right? So it is very rare, but before it used to be more. So this problem was solved using the e-cash schemes. Then it has come as one more technique called as brand e-cash, which was an improved CFN technique, that is Chauman, Fight and Noor technique, with more efficient and introduced the concept of security reduction in order to improve the statements about the eCash scheme. Okay, next it has come as Hashcash, which was introduced by Adam Back in 1997 as a proof of work system to control the email spam. This technique, Hashcash technique, has worked out for a limited set of email spams. If there is a continuous flood of spam emails, then it got failed. Else it was able to detect within a limit somewhere around 50 emails, spam emails which have come to a node could able to detect. But above and all, so if it is a continuous process, then this technique, Hashcash method, got failed for the detection of spam emails. Then there was an introduction of computational puzzles in 1992 to prevent the spam emails. Then the same Adam Back has invented the usage of computing hash functions as proof of work. So Hashcash, which was introduced by the Adam Back for the spam email detection, has come up with the usage of computing hash functions in order to perform the proof of work. Then in 1998, B-Money was introduced by VDAI, which has proposed the idea of creating money by using the computational puzzles such as Hashcash. So whatever the Adam Back has introduced, the same concept was adopted for the B-money, and they have come up with new
Excuse me,
techniques.
Bhavana ma'am.
Yes?
Actually, your slides are not moving.
No, I'm not. I'm in the same slide.
Okay, okay. Okay, ma'am. Okay,
I'm just taking the brief history of it, so I didn't change.
okay, okay ma'am.
Yeah,
Okay,
because
fine.
next slides are the communication chat, how the blockchain will communicate.
Okay, ma'am. Thank
Yeah.
you.
So next it has come as BitGold, which was introduced in 2005 and proposed the computational puzzles to mint the digital currency. The moment BitGold has been introduced, then in the 2005 same year, Sir Hall Finney has introduced the concept of cryptographic currency by combining the ideas of B-money and Hashcash puzzles. So that in that way, the birth of Bitcoin and the blockchain has taken place. Ultimately, in 2009, the first blockchain practical Bitcoin was implemented. Then the blockchain has been introduced. Okay, so this is how from 1980s to 2009 it has been taken into account, and they have come up with so many techniques. Okay, so this is how the in 2008 there was, I mean, it's an unknown name, Satoshi Nakamoto. So he is the one who has claimed saying that he uh, there is a core component for the digital currency. So we can, instead of transferring the money hand to hand, we can have a digital currency transactions between various users. So this is how the blockchain works. So if you see, the blockchain starts, the initiator will always start the functioning of the transaction, then it will reach to the network, and then from there the all nodes will verify, they will approve the transaction, then only the transaction will take place. If majority of the nodes in the network will give not to approve, then in that case the transaction will be dropped in the network. So the initiator is the Genesis block, the first block of the blockchain. Okay. So next comes the moment initiator will initiate, it will go to the peer-to-peer network. Then the blockchain will be verified and approved by all the nodes which are present in that particular transaction. Then a new block will be created, and it will be updated in the ledger. So this is nothing but a ledger which you are seeing it. Then the amount, once it is received, work is not over at this particular point. The minute transaction is over, then each and every node which is present at this particular level need to update its own transaction, saying that this is how the money minus whatever money got subtracted at A, and whatever money got added to B, that need to be updated in the complete ledgers with all nodes. Okay, so this is how, like, that is our normal explanation. This is a technical how it works. So hash, so the blocks in the blockchain consists of a hash with some information of the previous block, unique mathematical code which is different for different blocks. So if the information is changed in between using any usage, I mean any attacker has entered into the network and tried to change, then definitely the hash function which has been used for the entire transaction will be changed. So immediately the block has to be discarded. Okay. So all the blocks and the nodes which are present will able to understand that there is some kind of attack which has happened. So all the nodes which are connected with the hash keys makes the blockchain secure. So it uses a Merkle tree function, Merkle root field, that represents the hash value of the current block. When transactions are taking place in the network, the respective nodes validate all these transactions. If you see the previous diagram and this matches everything, only thing is I have just explained in a simple manner, and here we are using the technical terms. Authentication is achieved using the keys and authorization which arises. Okay, it allows the participants to perform the mathematical verification of the network and reach to a consensus for approval. So the sender will use the private key and announces for the transaction over the network. It uses the block which the sender is going to send consists of a timestamp, digital signature, and the public key of the receiver which need to perform a transaction. Once the information is broadcasted, the validation of the process will start. Node that is present in the network try to solve the puzzle related to the, and over here let me explain you, the puzzle is nothing but if a simple message need to be delivered, then it will be delivered very normally. So it will be delivered very normally without any puzzle. Okay, if it involves lot of uh, if it involves the money transactions or any other confidential documents or any other important information, then definitely the sender will assign some puzzles in the network so that the approval can be made sure by all the peers who are involved, and some amount will be given to all those uh, the nodes who are involved in solving that particular puzzle. So indirectly, the sender will make sure that the information from one node to the other node has been transferred. Okay. So the moment like the puzzle, how much the puzzle he has solved, it will be updating the sender, right? So in that case, so the sender will make sure, okay, my information has reached from X to Y. The puzzle which I have put is of difficulty level, and in that also 5 levels of puzzles will be there. So difficulty level, medium level, lowest level. So all varieties of sets will be available based on the importance of the information which is being transferred over the network. Once the puzzle is solved, the nodes will receive the bitcoins in terms of rewards. Okay, this is called proof of work problems. Once the nodes in the consensus agree to a solution, a timestamp is added to the existing block. The block can contain anything from money to data. So if a block is added to the chain, the existing nodes are updated in the network. The new data will be broadcasted over the network. What do you mean by CAP theorem? We say in the blockchain that if CAP theorem has been satisfied, then we ensure that the participation of all the nodes has been done and the transaction which we are performing in the network is perfect. Okay, so this theorem states that it has to, the network has to maintain the consistency, availability, and partition tolerance simultaneously in order to ensure that the nodes in the network will not get failed, and even if there is some failure in the system, then still it has to continue its operation till the end of the transaction. Okay, so consistency is nothing but it has to ensure that the nodes in the distribution system have a single latest copy of data. Okay, so the availability is nothing but so system is up, accessible for use and is accepting the incoming request and responding with data without any failures as and when it is required. And partition tolerance, even a group of nodes fails in the distributed system, it has to still complete the transaction. So in order to achieve the fault tolerance, replication will be used. So which is a technique in order to achieve the fault tolerance, so that once the replicas has been made, so even if a system in the network the nodes are failed, even then the operations will. So consistency is achieved using the consensus mechanisms. consensus algorithms or consensus mechanisms to ensure that all nodes have the same copy of data. This is called the state machine replication. So blockchain is basically a method in order to achieve the state machine replication. Consensus algorithms that we will see in the next session, it is meant for the consensus algorithms itself. So now I'll be discussing about how we are going to apply the blockchain in IoT. Okay, so the moment when we see the IoT, what are the various challenges which are associated with respect to IoT and with respect to blockchain? The first and foremost, yeah, the first and foremost challenge with respect to IoT is security and privacy, because as they are minute sensors and they sense the data and they try to send to the end base stations, so definitely their privacy and their security need to be concerned to higher level. And when we want to apply the blockchain into the IoT, then we need to consider these many complications are there so that we can think of it. So resource in blockchain when compared to IoT, IoT is a very small device which has a resources restriction. Whereas blockchain will consume so much of resources, it will consume so that we won't able to provide it for the IoT. Then how to? That's a big question mark. So this is a research challenge. It still exists. Although I'll take the example of how we have applied the blockchain in IoT system, still this problem still exists. So these are the various research issues still going on. Okay, and block mining is a time consuming, whereas in IoT it demands a low latency, because as it is resource restricted and it consumes very less energy, the battery power which is associated with the devices is very less, so it demands low latency. So blockchain may scale poorly with the large networks. As IoT is not a small network, it consists of several thousands or lakhs of networks, right? So that it can communicate with all nodes and fetch the data accordingly. So in that case, it may get failed. So whereas blockchain consumes high bandwidth, IoT will have a limited bandwidth and resources. Then how to overcome this kind of problem? That's a big issue. So over here, I can say you need to concentrate when you are using a centralized control, you are concentrating on scalability. When you need to have a distributed device identities to trusted device identities to the decentralized control, and you should have a secure decentralized storage in order to manage the data. With respect to security, you need to identify three important things. That is, there is a need for certification authorities, there is a plethora for the device identity solutions, and the communication from edge to the cloud. Whereas when you see about the privacy, then we need to concentrate on the centralized data management and need for the trusted parties. And we should need to ensure that the exposure of the data flows in the network, but with privacy control. Okay, so this is how we need to consider. So the main benefits of using the blockchain is cost reduction, which makes the simpler and more direct processes. New business models will come into picture with simpler transaction model disintermediation. So transactions acceleration with respect to the automatic transactions, the profit will be more. Okay, so the IoT devices, if you include in various places, then some work will be done automatically. And with the help of blockchain, even the work will be more easy to track. So, IoT devices itself will help us to track the complete status from X to the Y destination, right? That itself is enough. But what about the attacks which are going to happen on the devices? So, in order to protect the devices, we are moving towards the adoption of blockchain technology. So when we discuss about device anatomy, then we say there is no need of a human in the network. So the automatic updations will be sent to the humans. They just need to check their mobile or check their system so that the updates will come automatically. So that is the reason people have adopting, lots of companies are adopting IoT in their system. So whereas the blockchain and IoT has started from 2016 onwards. Okay, so when you see that the estimated growth of the IoT devices is somewhere around $210.2 million, and it has been estimated by 2312.5 million dollars by 2021, but it is more than what they have estimated right now. Okay, so the payment, so the various applications, the blockchain ecosystem has come up so that they can apply in various levels is, so payment the cases, payment use cases, interbank clearing, okay, and Bitcoin based cryptocurrencies, open protocols for the institutions so that they can come up with various solutions, and these are the various platforms which have been provided to the network. Okay, and IBM with the IoT, it has come in his own phase in 2016 itself. Okay, and these are the various blockchain networks which have been adopted for various applications, for IoT, for data, e-identity, legal, so crowdfunding, so marketplaces, publishing, proof of ownership. So these are the various how they have adopted and how it has been implemented. So these are the opportunities which have been come up in the 2016 itself, where the market perspective, if we see, there are so many startups which have come with the help of blockchain and IoTs, and innovation and exploratory. So there are big players who are investing like IBM, Robert Bosch, Cisco, so on and so forth. And the opportunities in terms of various applications, when we compare with the applications, so there are power grids, healthcare, IoT platforms, shared economy, insurance, supply chain, industrial IoT, so on and so forth. There is no end. Okay, but do we really know when to use the blockchain and when not to use? That's a big question mark. Okay, so because the moment the technology has been emerged in the network, okay, all over the world, then people start adopting it for no sense. So with no sense, they adopt. So something is available, let us take, let us experiment, let us do it. That's it. But first thing is you need to do a detailed survey whether it is really required for your system, or the existing techniques, whether you can overcome the attacks. That has to be understood, then only you need to adopt that particular technology. Once you understand where to apply the blockchain and where it is not required, then based on that you can have your own applications which will make you or which will earn you more profit. Okay, so these are the various challenges which are associated with the blockchain. So legal and regulations, technology, fragmented market, lack of skills. Definitely lack of skills, because there are very limited blockchain platforms which are offered in the network. I mean in the network. And technology, there are no established standards. Transaction processing time is more and decentralized storage. So these are the various challenges which are associated with IoT security, for which we are adopting the blockchain in order to overcome the challenges. So heterogeneity in the device resources, multiple attack surfaces, centralization, scaling of the devices, context-specific risk, poor implementation of mechanisms, security and privacy mechanisms in the off-the-shelf of the products. So this is how we are coming forward in order to adopt the blockchain technology in the network with the IoT features. So data and transaction flow separation, which will decrease the delay and resource optimization. So reduce the processing in terms of distributed trust between the channels. Okay. So the two tiers of blockchain, which is being linked for further applications. Clear? This is a smart home application which we have considered, and we are saying that there are so many channels for the entire like set of colony, where each and every devices is incorporated with the home, each home, and each home is being treated as a one trusted channel. Okay, and from that trusted channel the information has been passed in that particular colony, and those will be uh, updated with all other members in that particular network. Okay. So blockchain and IoT for the continuity of the information, yes. So whether we can adopt the irrecoverable and the immutable properties of the blockchain will share the information effectively between different stakeholders involved in the global supply chain market to ensure the traceability and reduce the inherent risks which are involved with this technology in the transfer of information or goods over the channel. So next comes accessibility of the information. We are ready to have the fast and transparent blockchains that need to provide the access towards the information in the future, so that they can able to leverage on a massive amount of data produced along the supply chain. This is nothing but the data which has been stored in the blockchain should able to predict the future accessibility or future information, so that it can be presented to the user, saying that so many times of delivery has been given of a particular item at this particular location destination, so that the user can able to take that particular item and have a more deliver that particular item to that particular location and make it available for the next time in future also. So this is how the supplier and customer will able to link between the between the transformation of the information. So this is the physical supplying, and the production manufacturing company is completely into the production assembly of the information, the control, right, of the products. So the data will be linked to the materials and the products on the stages of supply chain, where the matter is transformed physically. So the moment the it has been linked and the physical flow takes place from the customer, the information will go to the supplier saying that I have received the goods. Okay. Code of conduct violations and fraud detection can be avoided if we ensure that we are implementing the blockchain with respect along with the chain necessary for to the lower reputation, because we know the nodes who are entertained or who are involved in the particular transaction, they have agreed to the set of protocol agreement, that is consensus protocol agreement, where they cannot violate those rules once they have made the agreement till the completion of that particular transaction. Okay. So next, effective fraud detection processes supported by appropriate technologies. So in the meanwhile, when we say about supply chain, so I can say that from X to Y location, when the transfer of information, goods taking place and the transfer of information from takes back from Y to X, in between, let us say there are 2, 3 other nodes which are present and the truck has been stopped there at that particular point, then the information will be sent immediately to the supplier saying that the vehicle has been stopped there and the tracking has been will be stopped, so that immediately he can able to detect the system, the truck where it has been stopped and for what purpose, so that he can lower his fraud. Fine, which will be made so this will be enabled by the transparent and audible features of the blockchain. So next, how to build trust in IoT. So the as all things which are involved in the network with the connectivity and their intelligence, so there is a demand for the autonomous form of the networks and exchange and coordination among themselves. Right? It is not. It is on behalf of the humans. The systems are getting communicated. Okay, it is not the humans who are in direct contact with the each and every location. So that is the reason people say that if the systems, the devices, IoT devices which are present, they form their own network. If they start exchanging the information, the end points, if the human is involved, that's more than enough. So the best example you can consider is the online purchases. So your Amazon, your Flipkart, Paytm, so on so forth. You will able to track them till the last mile. Okay, when it has, I mean, we will right now we are getting the end point of like where your delivery is there, but if you start implementing and if you want to track from the exact location to exact location, that facility can be provided by the respective online sites if they wish to, but the information is not required to the user in that sense. Else if it is required, then it can be provided. Right now we will just get the information from where to where it is moving, right? At what location it has been there, at what location it is being present, reached, and from where it is going to start again. So this is the best example, one more example where the IoT devices are involved for various purposes, and when we implement the blockchain, you can see over here, see the home miner will communicate with all the devices which are present in the home, so that the local blockchain will update by itself and the information will be stored in the local storage. And whenever that information is required outside, only that particular information will be sent to the chain. Okay, so the blockchain in channel 1, whatever this channel 1 has been connected over here, and the information, just a brief information will be updated here, but the detailed information will be stored in the local storage. Okay, similar fashion for the channel 2, channel 3, channel 4, so on so forth. Okay, so in the cloud, and ultimately the whole information cannot be stored in the server which is present at those particular channels, right? So ultimately the whole information has to be stored at particular cloud. So in that way, they will send the complete information and it will be stored in the cloud. Over there, they have the shared storage and shared blockchain. Okay, public private shared blockchain. So in that case, so the common information which can be stored at this particular level, that is home 1, home 2, so on so forth, information can be stored at this particular level, and the detailed information will be stored in the storage level. Okay, so this is the concept of IPFS. So the basic information will be sure, and if you want to fetch it, you can type like home 1 information and what kind of information you will want. So at the moment it will, the IPFS will fetch from the detailed information from the respective cloud. Okay, so in that way, if it is stored in the local storage, it will be fetched immediately. If it is linked with the cloud, and those cloud has to fetch the information in a required fashion. So this is how the cluster heads occupy. So hierarchical cluster, resource optimization and scalability will be achieved. Limited nodes process blockchain. So processing overheads will be there. So smart home devices, each and every home will be connected, and those information will be stored in the cloud. Okay, cluster based on the cluster heads. So smart home, so same thing. It consists of local blockchain and local storage, and the information is stored so that the secure and private blockchain that is mined and stored by one or more resource capable devices, which is always online. And local storage, there may be an optional local storage for storing the data locally. Devices are nothing but the all smart devices located in the home. So next comes, what are the technology requirements in order to adopt the IoT into blockchain into IoT. So we need to first recognize the identity and reputation of the participants, which is central to trust and can be exposed. Okay. So the trust through reputation will be gained in the network through various transactions only. And one more thing over here, if the 51% attack is possible in the blockchain, then the complete entire network will collapse. So 51% attack is nothing but the moment the nodes, the first node which has been entered into the network, Byzantine node, okay, it has entered and it started its own transaction at first level, and it has sent the information, and it has allowed one more fresh node from outside to enter into the network, saying that it will follow the consensus protocol, right? And the moment it has entered, slowly the X, Y are the now Byzantine nodes. Next, Z will also enter into the network using the same concept of building the trust. Okay, the moment they build the trust, they will start entering into the network. Hello.
Hello, ma'am. Hello.
Hello.
Ma'am. Audible? Are you audible?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, okay, ma'am. Okay.
I was audible, right?
Okay. Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Yeah. So the moment we say that if there are 10 nodes and 6 nodes are attacker nodes which have entered through the reputation of one upon the other, then we say that the entire network is uh, attacker's network. So it will lose its trust. Okay, 10 out of 6, that is called the 51% attack. Okay, and it will neglect the genuine nodes, and it will start its own transactions which can be performed, and it can collapse the entire blockchain. So that is how the network is going on. So that is the first and foremost, that we need to have a identity and reputation of the participants in order to allow them for any transaction. So next comes the technology requirements. So the edge which we are using should be a strongly qualitative, and once the information becomes the qualitative, the provenance to include the identity and reputation of the source makes it critical. So the second requirement is controlled access to the information, which is very, very critical. So anybody in the network, they can just, the nodes who are involved in the transaction, they could able to see the ledger at any time. But X information cannot be viewed by some public node which they want to enter into the network for the transaction. So there are types of blockchains. I just want to mention over here. There are various types of blockchains. So when I say, generally people will go through only some part of it, that is nothing but they know the public, private, and shared blockchain, right? But there are somewhere around 12 types of blockchains. So just I'll give you a brief idea of it so that we will understand the controlled access of information, which is very much critical. So everybody knows about public blockchain, private blockchain, semi-private blockchain. Semi is nothing but a combination of private and public blockchain. Side chains, which are the chains which will be formed, and whenever they are being used by the in the network, they will get burned. Okay, so the moment they have been used, the coins which are present with them will be burned. Okay, so it is side chains are nothing but like whatever transactions based on puzzles you are going to implement, that we can call it as side chains. Okay, so in that there are again two types of side chains exist. So one is the pegged chain, single peg chain, that is nothing but the burning of the coin, or two-way peg chain, which allows the movement of the coins from main chain to the side chains. Next comes the permission ledger. So it is purely based on the agreement protocol, which is used to maintain a shared version of the truth about each and every state of the records. Next comes the distributed ledger. It can either be private or public, but the ledger will be always available. Okay. The concept of this, the distributed ledger, is called as ripple. It is like the moment when you put a water drop in the still water, the how the ripples will be formed. So similar fashion, it will be like the complete trust will be built in that fashion. Okay. Next, shared ledger, which describe any application or database that is shared, may be a public or a consortium blockchain. Fully private and proprietary, generally they won't share any kind of information. It is among the organizations, and they need to share the data and provide some level of guarantee of the authenticity. Okay, and these are the collaborating and sharing data from for various government departments. You can take the example MRO office and so on and so forth. The Aadhaar card has been given, right? These cannot be shared just like that to anyone. So among the government organizations, they can share the information. Okay, so Aadhaar card and PAN number. So those are the under control of government only, right? So they can share the information of each user among themselves, but it cannot be shared to the normal users or any private organizations. Next comes the tokenized blockchains. Tokenized blockchains are nothing but they generate the cryptocurrency as a result of consensus process via mining or initial distribution. Next comes the tokenless blockchains, which are also a unit of transfer value but are still value of consideration. So these are the various types of blockchains which are already available in the network. So when you want to adopt the blockchain method for your application, you need to know what kind of blockchain you want to adopt, whether it is a private, public, semi, or tokenized, non-tokenized, distributed, so on, so forth. Okay, based on your requirement. That is reason requirement 2 says that control access to the information which is critical in IoT. Okay, the moment you realize it is much more important, it is much more important, then I can say that then you need to concentrate and you need to think what kind of a blockchain can be adopted that particular, and what kind of restrictions need to be implemented at that particular level. Okay, so the example for this is supply chains, which include the third party logistic companies. So the contracts will be powerful tools for the smart contracts, will be the power tools for the IoT. Generally, whenever the supply chain management, it should not able to all to open the truck which is already loaded, right? Until unless some proper security or proper proper integrity has been maintained. So this is how I have informed. So if it is a loaded one and based on the information proof, then only it will able to. The driver need to maintain the temperature if he is carrying some kind of information in that some kind of things in that truck where it requires the temperature to be low or high somehow, right? So in that case, it should be a unique or only one person who is going to have the proof and which will be constructed in revealing the confidential information. So next requirement for the network is
சார் சப்மிட் பண்ணிட்டீங்களா? நான் பண்ணிட்டேன்.
hello,
இப்போ டீ குடிக்க போலாமா?
hello.
Hello, ma'am.
Hello.
Ma'am, now are you audible?
I am audible. I don't know who is muting my.
Somebody enter into that.
Someone has muted my mic.
Yeah.
It has happened twice.
Okay. Now you continue, ma'am. Sorry for the interruption.
So IoT blockchains will likely need to recognize the variety of nodes in the network and their related capabilities in order to function in the network. And they need to identify what are the various nodes which exist and which are relevant to their own particular network in order to transfer the information. If I say that, let us suppose these are the IoT devices. Instead of sending the information to this node, if it sends to this node, then it is of no use. Am I audible? Yeah.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Thank you. So the fourth requirement is the connectivity. So the devices, whether it is IoT devices, when you are using in the network, in order to track from X to Y location, it always need to be connected, right, through internet, so that the information can be taken immediately. Even if there is a disconnection, immediately the action need to be taken, and it has to be implemented in order to fetch the access and perform the tracking of the system. So this is how. So this carries the requirement 4 and requirement 3. So it has to recognize and it has to send the information to the correct node. Instead of, if it sends the information, let us say this is our vehicle tracking. So instead of sending the information to the base station, if it sends the information to this, then it is of no use. So that is the reason, as we say, when we are discussing as a single node, we can picturize everything clearly. But just imagine single node is not at all exist in the network. Okay, so in that case, whenever you are visualizing or whenever in reality, then it is very difficult to build up a network where it will sense your own device and it will send the information to your own particular station without any disturbance. Noise will exist, collisions will exist. So how to solve these problems? So those are the things which need to be concentrated. Okay. So this is the example which explains the same thing. So next comes the, as we know in the blockchain, the we say it is a immutable, right? So why it is immutable? Actually, it is not immutable. It is reversible. It is, but the resources which we have used in order to compute a action will take same amount of resources in order to make the action null in the network. So in order to say that wastage of same computational resources in stopping one particular action, we say that just stop the action at that particular level. That is the reason we say that it is not reversible. But actually it is reversible, but it takes the same amount of resources which we have spent in order to go from. The best example, your own previous example, if I say it is going from Karnataka to somewhere around Delhi, where truck is filled and it has to go. Meanwhile, if the person says that I don't want your goods, you can take it back. Same amount of petrol, same amount of energy need to be spent in order to get it back to the Karnataka, right? So in order to solve that issue, I mean, in reality, it is not possible. If goods are there, then they will get it back and they will try to sell in Karnataka, okay? And they will try to recover the loss. But in the network, it is not possible. So in that case, they will stop the transaction there itself. They will disconnect the transactions there itself and they will start the fresh transactions. But actually it won't solve the issue. It should able to reverse the transactions but with less resources. I mean wastage of resources. Then in that case we can accept that particular transactions. So this is how the centralized IoT, collaborative IoT, connected interactive IoT and distributed IoT will look. So this represents the shift in one of the central tenets of the technology. So the next, immutability. This is what I have explained in detail just now. So immutability is nothing but the reverse of transactions, which is not possible. So if at all we have a faulty transactions or faulty RFID reader which exists in the supply chain and it tracks in a wrong way, then what to do? So transfer of funds, already it has been delivered to the customer. The goods have been delivered to the customer, but customer claims that I didn't receive any goods. Even the IoT device which has been dumped will show some other location instead of the customer's location. In that case, supplier will be in loss. If customer has paid the amount well in advance, then customer, if the goods have been not delivered to the customer and the supplier claims that my device shows that goods have arrived at your particular position and they have been dumped there at that particular location, then customer will be in loss. So how to solve this kind of problem? So that also need to be thought and come up with the proper solution. So that is how the statement says that you need to faulty RFI could report the existence of the container that has not actually arrived. Okay, triggering an inappropriate transfer of the funds. Okay, so next comes the data privacy. So personal information which may which might leak into a transaction and affect the GDPR and other privacy regulations, which may require the information to be removed from the record. The problem is not unique to the IoT. It is applicable to all the uh, it is applicable for all varieties of applications which are present in the, which are using the blockchain in the network in order to maybe healthcare, maybe supply chain, maybe so many things are there. So these are the economic requirements. So you need to see how the uh, complex ecosystems can be modified to use the use cases for the blockchain to become more apparent. Okay, so old paradigm everywhere they used to have, and this is the new paradigm where they are going to update. Like very less number of people are required in order to get the updations of the information. So using blockchain to secure the IoT. So the devices which online all the time, each of those devices, whether a voice recognition, personal assistance, or pay by phone parking meter, can be vulnerable to cyber attack and could be even a part of one attack. So how to make it secure? That's a question mark, because whenever we say the tracking system or parking lot, okay, even the devices will indicate that there is a parking lot which is available at X position, but really it is not available. The moment the driver takes the car at that particular X position and sees that it already exists, then it is of no use, right? He got struck in between. So in that way, it has to be solved, because there are some attacks which have been happened and still going on in the real time. Okay, so too many smart internet connected devices are made by large companies like Google, Apple, Microsoft, Samsung, both in terms of technological systems and marketing incentives to fix the security problems very quickly. Okay, so but not in case of increasingly crowded world of smaller internet enabled devices. So we don't have the techniques for the devices which are within the smart home. So electric bulbs or doorbells, even the shipped, even the packages shipped by the UPS and so on does not have any security measures. Okay, so they can be quickly attacked and they can be modified accordingly. Okay, so in order to overcome that, we need to adopt the blockchain technology. So for a higher level of like technical, so the marketing and other, so they have taken some precautions. But smart homes, they haven't concentrated much, and those devices and their digital brains are typically made by unknown companies. Generally, we don't even know, and the developing countries without funds or ability to, or the brand recognition need to cooperate the strong security features. If you go outside, you will get the IoT device for 100 rupees and 1000 rupees also. People generally they prefer to take 100 rupees device and they try to experiment in their home, for example. Okay, so in that case what happens is the 100 rupees device has so many loopholes. I mean, it is not related to money. Okay, I'm just taking an example with respect to the quality of the device in terms of money, that's it, but it is not true in real time. Okay, so what happens over here is 100 rupees and 1000 rupees, same facilities, okay? Whereas 1000 rupees IoT device has more security rather than the 100. So people will not understand that. They will get it for 100 rupees and they start installing at their home and they start using it. Ultimately, they have given a chance for the attacker to enter into their home and steal complete data and have a complete grip on that particular home. So the moment you want to open the fridge, you went and you have detected it. Fridge says that if you pay some ransom amount, then only I'll open the fridge to give you the food. Okay. Similar fashion, the broom which is connected with sensors has been attacked by the attacker and says that if you pay some amount, then only I'll clean the water which has been spread. Okay. We can do, we will take the cloth and we can wipe off. That is other issue. But when everything is sensed, everything is based on sensors, and in that case, it is difficult to manage. Even the small things need to be considered in order to proceed with the secure manner. Okay, so this is how in 2016 cyber attack has been happened on internet routing company DN that took over more than 80 popular websites and stalled internet traffic across the US. So the software update has to be performed every time so that it is a new way of tracking and distributing the security software. But generally, we want how many people in this particular meeting have updated their mobile software? Every monthly once or 3 months once, we will get a software update, but we are least bothered because if some changes happen in the mobile, we are like, okay, don't even remember, we don't even know why to make the changes. If we update the mobile software, then immediately we will forget some of the things, or if the places of those applications may get changed. So in order not to make any kind of changes, so we will not update the software. But the software which will be sent by the company itself need to be updated in your phone so that you can able to detect some kind of you can stop some kind of vulnerabilities. Okay. So in that same fashion, if we provide some way of tracking and distributing the security software, then it will be good enough to secure the IoT devices also. So the five biggest problems with the blockchain is blockchain has a environment cost. As it grows, it takes the more and more. Now we can see that one Bitcoin is equals to some 45 lakhs, right? So it was previous year. Now it has been more raised. So in that way, I can say it has been claimed that the computation power required to keep the network running consumes much more energy. That is almost like 159 uh, used by 159 of the world nations. Okay, that is the reason we will not able to adopt the blockchain completely. The smaller applications we are trying to adopt, but not at the higher level. Smaller scale blockchains, such as those that our organization may deploy internally to secure and monitor records. So same example, same thing which I have explained just now. So next comes the environmental implications as well as the energy cost that cannot be ignored. Now they have come up with the green computing, green energy, right, with the blockchain. So if that is being adopted, then we are like somewhat we have reduced the resource consumption. Lack of regulation creates a risky environment. Yes. So if a path is laid down and you need to go using that path, it is very easy for us to know. And if we don't know any kind of regulations, so we are just adopting it without knowing exactly what it is for and what kind of regulations have been implemented on blockchain. Nothing is known. Whatever application is available, okay, we take it, apply the blockchain on that, and forget it. If results come positive, we will publish a paper and finish off. If results doesn't come, okay, done. That's it. No other issue, right? So it is difficulty as we don't know the regulations, and even that does not have any proper regulations which have been developed, like the network security problems. Okay. So the scams and market manipulations are the commonplace. So the high profile cases in OneCoin, which is recently revealed as a Ponzi scheme, which is believed to have robbed millions from the investors who believed that they were getting in early of what would become the next Bitcoin. So the application, the apps which have been developed. So legislators have been largely failed to keep pace with innovators because they have a fear that they may go out, fear of missing out. So that is the reason they will make their own uh, boundaries and they keep themselves within that. That is nothing but the leading to a rich picking of those seeking to exploit the FOMO. So there are very less number of people who are coming forward and want to do some kind of research in this area. The third biggest problem is complexity, which means the end users find it hard to appreciate the benefits. We are trying to understand the blockchain, but end users, if you are developing a blockchain, so end user will not have any effect. Healthcare. So at the back end, you are going to adopt the blockchain. You are going to solve the some kind of attacks. Okay, but how you are going to explain to the end user? Okay, so it's a good bit of reading before the man on the street can see what makes the blockchain potentially well. So the problem middleman who is going to facilitate traditionally provided by the financial services industry, such as the clearing for payments, fraud prevention, which are being provided by the banks adequately well at an apparently low cost in the end user. So the fourth one is blockchains can be slow and cumbersome. That is absolutely true. They become slow at one particular position and they make the, I mean, because of the high, I mean, the storage of that information, which makes the storage data more vulnerable. Like it is like, you know, if you want to search one particular file, it may take some half an hour or 1 hour, whatever. So based on the large number of transactions which is already stored in that particular server. Okay, due to the complexity and the encryption method, not only the server storage of information, because of the encryption and distributed nature, blockchain transactions will take a while to process, certainly compared to the traditional payments. So Bitcoin transactions can take several hours to finalize. Okay, and you are ready to, you have taken some cup of coffee in your lunch hour and you want to pay using a Bitcoin, then the vendor is willing to take on a element of risk because it takes long time to do the payment. Now it is solved. Now it is very free, and you could able to fetch more information. Then I mean the transactions will be much more faster than the previous. Okay, so the establishment has a vested investment interest in blockchain failing. So despite of huge interest in adopting blockchain technology from the established financial industry, the subtext behind what is said about is it would probably be better if it is just quietly disappear. So these are the five problems which are associated with the blockchain. So I just want to show you the platforms which are available with respect to the blockchain. So I hope it is visible, right? Can anybody reply?
Yes, ma'am, it's visible.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
So yeah. So these are the various platforms which are meant for various applications in the blockchain. So Litecoin generally this has been used for IoT. So these are the various Hyperledger for the finance, Ethereum for finance, Bitcoin, List, Quorum, HDAC, Iris, Tendermint. So these are the various platforms which are available and can be adopted according to your own application. Generally, right now we are going only for Ethereum, right? Maximum of the research works and maximum of the people who adopt this kind of a technique, like they just adopt Ethereum, start the application, get the result, get the paper published, over. But generally, these are meant for various applications. It's not like everything is for everything. Fine. So there are various set of platforms which are meant for something different. So that you need to know in order to perform the transaction. So these are the various applications which you can see and you can enter for your, you can select for your research area. So digital currency, that is nothing but Bitcoin, smart contracts, we are using Ethereum, Internet of Healthcare, Hyperledger, smart city energy consumption, government elections, identity management, intellectual property protection, autonomous decentralized peer-to-peer telemetry, Internet of Things and 5G era, Internet of Vehicles, Internet of Devices, access management in IoT, collaborative video delivery, cloud storage, intrusion detection, software defined networking, fog computing, distributed P2P network, crowd sensing applications, data storage, insurance network named as iGang, track the IoT assets by MyBet. These are the companies, okay? So iGang, MyBet, Aero Token, these are the companies who have come up with these kind of applications, okay? Smart payments, identity, government services, waste management. Not only those, you can go with various kinds of case studies at end-to-end blockchains. You can take it as a research area. Storage level of the blockchains, gate level blockchains, how they work at each level. That is for your each and every layer wise. If I say layer wise, then you can remember the first slide which I've shown the blockchain set, right? It consists of blocks, transactions, so on, right? So if you see that, then you can understand this one. So one second. Yeah. Someone has asked Tendermint is a platform. It's a platform. Yeah, Ankur.
Ma'am, I was just wondering that in IoT, suppose is this basically we are talking about blockchain in the form of consensus network. So in
What
case
I didn't get you. Can you just repeat once again? In
blockchain
terms of
is basically consensus network, isn't it? So in case of IoT, suppose we are having means webcam say installed and it is means we have a threat of hacking that webcam. Then who all are the people who will be giving the consensus that these people are
who
authorized?
are involved. For example, your own meet, whatever right now it is going on, right?
Yeah,
So I can say this camera can be hacked, right?
yeah.
The people who have been permitted by the organizer knows that these are the set of people who are going to involve. He's not
Okay.
going to allow just like that. This is also a kind of consensus mechanism.
Okay.
In this way, we are making sure that, okay, I mean, until unless there is 51% attack, we cannot see as here the humans are involved. So I can say that someone may misuse the opportunity which has been given by the organizer, okay? Then that can be go in different angle. But as the nodes in the network, if I treat all 114 candidates as a nodes in the network, okay, so if I treat everyone as a node in the network, then until unless the organization, so the election algorithm, once it is performed and you are electing a person as your election officer, that is nothing but the organizer of this particular workshop. So everybody agrees to the terms and conditions, right?
Yeah.
So in that way, I can say that I'm maintaining it. The consensus mechanism has been maintained by all the nodes which are present at this particular workshop. If I consider them as a nodes, simple nodes,
Okay.
without, I mean, I'm not considering as a human. If I consider as a human and they try to misbehave, then I can treat them as a Byzantine node. Okay, and that node, if the organizer will not have a control on the complete entire participants, he'll just pass the Google Meet link and whoever can join.
Yeah.
So in that case, and there is a limit that only 200 people can join in this particular Google Meet, right? So just imagine there is one Byzantine node which has sent the information, this Google Meet link, to some set of 150 people who are not registered for this workshop. Then you can just imagine that is equal to the 51% attack. The genuine people will not able to do any kind of workshop, they cannot attend, they cannot even see it properly. As you are the human, you can just put a mail, you can give a call to the organizer. So that organizer will able to detect, okay, there is some mischief which has happened, so let me control. He can take the precautions. But whereas in real time, when you are using the blockchain, it is not so easy. Okay.
Okay, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am.
Yeah. I hope I have cleared your question, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
Ma'am, good morning, ma'am.
Yeah, good morning.
Ma'am, actually, this is Mehboob from Sri Ishwar College of Engineering. You said that IoT can be used in a blockchain, right? So we can use IoT for mining purpose also, ma'am.
Mm, may I know in what terms you are telling? Mining purpose means?
Ma'am, actually nowadays, for example, if you take P network, which has given by some university students from UK, right? So they have given a PI network. So in that we are doing mining in our mobile itself. So likewise, some of the cryptocurrencies are giving mining like games and some sort of apps, ma'am. So if you use IoT for that, it will be easily convertible like mining, ma'am.
Yeah, possibility is there, but it again depends on what kind of, how much resource computation is required.
Okay, okay, ma'am.
Again depends. Computational resources is the major issue which is associated with the IoT devices, right?
Yes, ma'am.
So because they have very low power and low memory,
Sure,
right?
sure.
So it completely depends on that. Else it is fine. Like you can apply it. Only thing
Okay.
is, if you are least bothered about computational resources and you are able to provide the resources, resource availability, in that case you can. That's
Okay.
not a problem.
Sure, sure, ma'am.
Yeah. Yeah. IRTT official has raised the hand. What is the mechanism used in blockchain technology to broadcast the transaction? It's a ledger based on the hashing algorithm. That's it. Uh, Means technology is used because blockchain does have any structure. I didn't get this question. I mean, I first question I got it.
ஆனா அந்த இதுல எழுதி வச்சிருக்காங்க
Bharti, can you mute your mic?
367-846 இந்த நம்பர் தான் வேணும். காலேஜ்ல அத பண்ண நம்பர்.
சரி சரி
அது லாஸ்ட் ரெண்டு நம்பர் வெச்சிருங்க மேடம். அது கேன்சல் பாக்ஸ்.
Bharti Karthi.
Bharati ma'am,
இப்ப மேடம் அத வெச்சிருப்பாங்க.
Can you mute your mic?
mute your mic, ma'am.
Yeah, any IRTT official, they have raised the hand, but I'm unable to see their question. Any other questions which has to be answered? Yeah, Abdul, I got your first question. I have answered that, but I didn't understand your second statement. Means technology is used because blockchain doesn't have any central.
Am I audible?
Yeah, you're audible.
Yeah, ma'am. Actually, when new blocks are added in blockchain.
You're very low. You're audible, but your voice is too low.
Yeah, actually there is a network issue here. So, am I audible now, ma'am?
Hello.
Yeah,
You're audible, but
I'll
there is a
come.
break in your voice.
Yeah,
Break
I'll come out.
and very low.
Please, participants, if you are having any queries regarding this session topic, please type it in the chat box.
Yeah, that is better, I feel.
Yeah.
I think, Abdul, I have answered your question for the first one. I didn't understand.
ma'am.
Can you
Hello, ma'am.
type it again so that I can?
Ma'am, am I
Yeah,
audible?
now you're audible. Yes.
Ma'am,
yes.
as we are adding new blocks in blockchain after the consensus mechanism.
New blocks in the blockchain. Yeah.
Yeah, ma'am. Then, if it is validated, then we are sending the transaction detail to all the blocks, right? So, ma'am,
Yes.
Who's behind that? Means who sends information to all the blocks? Suppose if I have 1,000 blocks in blockchain.
No, it will be automatically updated. No.
Just I would like to
It
know that
will
what is the
be.
mechanism is used to sending the information to all the blocks.
So it depends on the consensus mechanism which you are using. So whether it has to be
Consensus.
broadcasted, yeah, consensus algorithm. So there are various algorithms before you start the transaction, whether it has to be updated at each location once the information has passed to that particular node, or it has to be broadcasted in the network. That agreement will be done before only. So it is purely based on the how much confidentiality you require for that particular information.
Yeah, ma'am. Because ma'am, blockchain is decentralized, means there is no
No
particular person.
broadcasting, yeah, but election officer, no. You are going
Yeah,
to
ma'am.
elect a member as a leader, right? So that leader at that particular transaction only for that particular time. Okay. So right now the all nodes which are in the network, that is yourself, you also a node in the network, right? In your workshop node, all 116 nodes which are present. So who is the election leader? Who is the leader for this? So definitely the organizer, right? So
Yes,
he'll
ma'am.
be responsible for broadcasting each and every information to all the participants.
Okay.
That is based on the prior agreement. As we are humans, it is understandable saying that, okay, whoever is going to organize, they are the responsible to send the information. If nothing is there, if some information is missing, immediately participants by default, they will contact the organizer because he is the leader. But in network, it is not like that. You have to prepare an agreement, and all the nodes which are involved, they have to agree to it, saying that X node will be the leader for the completion of the that particular transaction. Okay.
Okay, ma'am. We are selecting one leader, means the
Yes,
available
yes,
nodes is selecting one leader and he will do
yes,
all this.
yes. That is based on the consensus protocols only. Okay.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah. Any other questions? I'm taking very simple examples because it should be understandable to each and every person who is in the workshop. So I'm not taking the technical terms or technical examples where this is how the block will represent, this is how the happens, hashing function 256, it will go in that way. Just a simple example so that it can be understandable to all the participants who are there, who are new, who are old, whatever. Okay. So any other questions?
Ma'am, in blockchain technology, what is the maximum size of the blocks, ma'am? Actually, in Hadoop based HDFS, we are telling the maximum block size from 64 MB to 128 MB. In the similar way, here also
2
the
MB, 2 MB, 2 MB in blockchain.
Okay, ma'am. Okay.
Block size can be 2 MB.
Okay, ma'am.
And the block maximum size, it will be 4 megabytes.
Oh, okay, ma'am. Okay.
Okay, and it depends on which kind of blockchain you are using, whether it is Bitcoin, Ethereum, and so on. So for Bitcoin, it is 4 megabytes maximum size. But in realistic, when you implement, no, the moment you reach to the 2 megabytes, it will start asking you that what kind of like how much limit you want. You are going to cross the limit.
Okay, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am.
So in that way, it varies, like which kind of things you are using. Okay.
Okay, ma'am.
General, it is 2 MB megabytes.
Okay.
Which it will support.
Okay, ma'am. Is there any queries from participant side? Okay, now I request the participants to give feedback about this session.
Yeah.
Good morning,
Nagalingam.
madam.
Yeah.
One by one,
Yes.
we'll give the feedback.
Yes, sir.
Good morning to all. I am Kavita from University College of Engineering, Viluppuram. I first of all want to thank the organizers for arranging this wonderful FDP Atal AICT Atal sponsored one. The name itself, role of blockchain technology in India and insight into public sector. It's a very good title. I thank the organizers who chosen this topic. I also want to thank the resource person, Dr. Bhavana Rudra, for regarding the session. She explained about the requirements of IoT and how the blockchain is used in to secure the IoT. And she also addressed the 5 big problems with the blockchain. And she given an example, very good example, and also the different platforms of the blockchain applications and case studies, how these things are used. Really, thank you, ma'am, for your wonderful session. Once again, I thank all the organizers of this FDFB. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am. Thanks for
Good afternoon.
the feedback.
Good afternoon, ma'am. This is Mehboob from Shri Ishwar College of Engineering, Coimbatore. So first of all, I'd like to thank you that I thought that blockchain is used only for cryptocurrencies and like that. So today only I came to know that it can be used for IoTs and for public domains also, ma'am. So the session was very good and informative. So maybe we have some other sessions in this upcoming days. Let's hope for the best, ma'am. Thank you so much for your session, ma'am.
Thank you.
Good afternoon, ma'am. I am Thurinyanam from IRKT. This session covers the fundamental concepts of blockchain, how it is used in IoT. It is very much useful to me to understand the fundas and how we can use this in real-world application. The various case studies of blockchain with IoT makes us to understand the concepts very clearly. Thank you all the people for arranging this program. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you for all the participants to give wonderful feedback about this session. Now we have come to the end of this session. Dear participants, unfortunately, our session 3 speaker, Dr. Arun Kumar Thangavel sir, was not able to take over the session. Actually, very thankful to Bhavana Rudra ma'am for your very informative and valuable words about introduction to blockchain technology, and you can give more use cases of blockchain technology for the public sector in India, and the way that you connect blockchain technology with IoT, it's really wonderful. It really provides insightful information about blockchain technology.
Thank
And
you, ma'am.
so I requested Bhavana Rudra ma'am to handle the session 3 on behalf of Dr. Arun Kumar Thangavelu sir. She accepted the invitation. So I really appreciate her timely help to take over the next session. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am. Then we will start the session at 2 o'clock, okay?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, ma'am. Now we request all the participants to fill and submit the attendance form for today's session 2, which will be posted in the chat box, and then leave the session and join session 3 at 2 p.m. Thank you.
Hello. Good afternoon, ma'am. Hello.
Hello, yes, sir, please.
Actually, ma'am, where is the ID? I mean, it is asking the participant ID. So I'm not
Actually, I
finding it.
have posted one PDF document, no, list of
Uh,
participants. So in
okay.
that you have to find the participant ID.
Okay. 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 Let me
For
check.
your,
Yeah. Yes, ma'am.
actually, that ID is given by us.
Through mail, you have sent it.
No, in WhatsApp itself, I have posted, sir.
Actually, I have not yet joined the WhatsApp group.
Okay, once again, I will post.
Let me just join first of all. Then you can-
Okay, okay.
Please, ma'am.
First, you have to join in the WhatsApp group. I will post it. Record stop.